Hey there, friends, it's Laurie. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And today I'm sharing 3 new spring DIYs. I use Dollar Tree supplies along with a few other things. And with that, let's get busy. I'm making the base for the seesaw first, and I'm using 2 of the 6-inch wooden pallets from the Dollar Tree. You can always leave the base as is, but I want to raise mine up a bit, so I'm using 16 of the tumbling tower blocks that came from the Dollar Tree as well. On the bottom of the pallets, I attached E6000 onto the ends of the 4 rails. When I was done, I then attached a block to each of the ends. Once I had them in place, I added E6000 onto the top of each of those and added on an additional block. After giving the blocks a few minutes to set up, I'm now attaching the 2 pallets together. The glue has dried, and now I'm giving it a complete coat of my forest green acrylic paint. I'm going to make the fulcrum, and this is the piece that supports the center of the seesaw. I honestly didn't know what it was called, so yes, I did have to look that up. I'm using one of the small cut pieces of wood. This came from the Dollar Tree. They usually come in a pack of like 3 or 4, and mine measures about 2 inches by 1 inch. You can always leave it natural, but I gave mine a coat of light brown acrylic paint. I attached it by adding some hot glue about 1 inch or so from the center of the base. To mimic the seat on the seesaw, I'm using a gingham fabric carrot, and I picked mine up at the Dollar Tree. I then removed the jute bow and the hanger. I added hot glue onto the top of the fulcrum and then attached the carrot. I gave it a second to cool and then attached the other end. I'm adding on 2 small hopping bunnies, and these came from the Dollar Tree. They have wind-ups on each side along with plastic feet, and I removed both off of each bunny. I'll also be adding on 2 small white pom-poms that I had on hand as their tails. I added the first bunny onto the pointy end of the carrot and then hot glued it into place. I then attached the second bunny on the high end of the carrot, and I made sure to add some hot glue onto the paws. Now that I have them in place, I used my hot glue gun and attached the 2 pom-poms on as tails. I'm using some of this small carrot ribbon. I picked this up at the Dollar Tree, and I'm making 2 simple bows for the bunnies. Both are complete, and now I'm using some hot glue to attach them. You can always leave the green pallets under the bunnies as is. I'm going to add on some reindeer moss, and you can find this at the Dollar Tree. I used my hot glue gun and attached it onto the base. While I was adding it, I didn't glue the moss down tightly near the upper bunny because I will be adding on a sign. To make the sign, I'm first starting with 7 of the tumbling tower blocks, using my E6000 and attaching them together. I let the glue dry and then gave both sides a coat of white acrylic paint. I'm using some wooden letter tiles. Mine came from Temu, and I'm spelling out the words Hello Spring. I used my E6000 and attached the letters onto the wooden base. I pushed away a little bit of the loose moss in the front and then used my glue gun to attach the sign. To help the sign blend in, I added a little bit of extra moss in the front. Because it's springtime, I'm going to add some small flowers around the bunnies, and I'm just using these. I had them left over from past projects. I added on random dots of hot glue here and there and attached the flowers. I'm also adding on 6 small carrot accents, and these I found at the Dollar Tree. They were a little darker than I wanted, so I did lighten them up with some orange acrylic paint. I once again used my glue gun, added 3 on the front and 3 on the sign. And now that I'm done, this cute Hello Spring Bunnies playground is complete. I'm popping in and asking if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking on that little red subscribe button below and leaving me a thumbs up. To all my returning friends, I think you're the best, and I can't wait to chat with everyone down below in the comments. Getting started, I'm using a 16-inch family sign from the Dollar Tree. I removed the hanger and now I'm giving mine a complete coat of white acrylic paint. But if you prefer, you can always just paint the front. I'm making mine 2 colors, and I'm using the pretty blue Sailing Sky acrylic paint from Michaels. I'm painting the F, the M, and the Y. This time I only painted the front of those 3 letters. When I was done and the paint had dried, I then gave my family sign a coat of matte Mod Podge. I'm adding on spring accents, and you can pretty much use anything you have on hand. I'm adding on 2 butterflies and 2 birds, and mine came from Michaels. I'm also using bumblebees and ladybugs, and these came from Dollar Tree. I'm using a flower from this sticker pack. I painted it a light purple and then attached a button in the center. I'm also adding on this cute sticker. It's a little basket with some spring flowers. I had this cute little terracotta pot on hand, and I added on some dots from the Sailing Sky paint. I grabbed a couple small pieces of greenery and I hot glued them inside the pot. The next step is so easy. I'm now adding all of the individual pieces onto my sign. I used a family sign for this DIY, but I think a home or a hello sign would be just as cute. I'm also thinking that a specialty theme like nautical or holidays or even a farm theme, that would make a really unique gift. I finished up by adding on the little polka dotted pot, and now that I'm done, I can't wait to place this on my mantle. I'm starting my spring wreath using a 14-inch grapevine wreath from Hobby Lobby. I'm adding the greenery on first, and I'm using 4 bunches of ivy. I found these at a discount store in Maine, and they're only with 29 cents each, and I think I bought 30 of them. I used my glue gun, and I tucked them evenly around the wreath in between the grapevine. I then pulled some of the stems apart to spread them out. The second greenery that I'm adding on are willow leaves, and these came from Temu. You can get longer stems, but these are shorter and they come in a package. I'm attaching 11 around the center of my wreath, and I'll also be using some at the very end to frame the outside of my wreath. This is the greenery that I had on hand and I'm using for my wreath, but to be honest, the majority of it will be hidden, so you can pretty much use any type of greenery that you'd like. Once I had the leaves in place, I then worked my way around the wreath, just kind of fluffing up the greenery. My next addition is called White Lavender, and this came from Temu as well. I'm using 4 bunches, and there are 5 stems on each. I used my clippers and clipped all free from the main stem. I once again used hot glue and randomly attached them around the wreath, filling in any of the open spaces. As with my previous greenery, I made sure they were all heading in the same direction. Now that I'm done, I'm going to start adding on my flowers. My first addition is 2 bunches of green peonies, and these I found on Temu. They come with a bit of greenery added on and some large leaves. I'm going to cut them away from the main stem, and I'm also going to remove the leaves because they just don't fit with this wreath. This time, instead of adding hot glue to the end of each stem, I'm first finding the placement of my flowers. This way, if I'm not happy, I can pull them out and move them around, and they're not permanently attached. I have all 10 in place, and now I'm adding on some hot glue to attach them. The next set of flowers that I'll be adding are 8 purple lilacs. I had these on hand, but I'm sure you can find them at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or even the Dollar Tree. The flowers, they're a bit longer than I want them, so I'm going to cut each of them into a shorter piece. I have them all cut into shorter flowers, and now using my hot glue gun, I'm attaching them evenly around my wreath. One thing I really like about this wreath is once you have your greenery base, you can always change out the flowers and it will work for other seasons and holidays. I'm adding on another spring color, and I'm using 3 hydrangea bunches. These did come from the Dollar Tree. They're a pretty pop of blue, and I'm cutting the shorter stems away from the main stem. And now, just like the lilacs, I'm adding hot glue to the bottom of the stem, and I'm evenly spacing them around my wreath. I think this looks really pretty as is, but I'm going to keep with the spring theme and add on 2 stems of pink wildflowers, and these did come from the Dollar Tree. Like the other flowers, I cut these away from the main stem, and I have a total of 12. I added hot glue to the end of each stem, like I had done the others, and evenly spaced them around my wreath. The 3 that I had left over, I attached those around the center opening, and I evenly spaced them out as well. The last color that I'll be adding on is a hint of yellow. I'm using 2 stems of filler flowers. These did come from the Dollar Tree. It's mostly greenery, but they do have some small yellow flower clusters. And you guessed it, once again, I snipped them all away from the main stem and then evenly spaced them around my wreath. When I was done, I added a few stems of the willow leaves, the ones that I had attached at the beginning, around the outside of my wreath. I then gave the flowers and the greenery a little fluffing. The last additions to my wreath are stems of Dollar Tree butterflies. They did have some different colors, but I chose pink and yellow. I'm using 2 of each, and I found their placement on my wreath. Now that I'm done, all that's left to do is hang this pretty spring wreath above my mantel. Here we are, we've made it again to the end of another video, and I really hope you had fun crafting with me. If you're new to my channel and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below. I have a whole ton of different home crafty DIYs that I'll leave for you at the end of this video as well as in my description. And as always, I hope you have a safe and an amazing day. And until next time, bye everybody!